Calgary Police Service Homicide Unit has charged an individual in connection with a homicide that occurred yesterday afternoon in the community of Whitehorn at approximately 3:30 p.m. on Tuesday, November the 3rd, 2015. Police and EMS were called to a residence in the 0 to 100 block of Whitmire Bay Northeast for a report of someone deceased inside. Upon arrival, responders found a woman deceased in the basement and deemed the death to be suspicious. An autopsy was conducted today and it was confirmed the death was a homicide. The victim has been identified as Janel SQUIRREL, 26 of Calgary. Her death is believed to be the result of domestic violence, and we have charged an individual, Leo Harry PANTHERBONE, 45 of Calgary, is charged with manslaughter. He is next to appear in court on November the 12th, 2015. The investigation is ongoing, and anyone with information relating to this incident is asked to call police or Crime Stoppers. Incidents like these are deeply concerning to the Calgary Police Service, and we always encourage anyone who is experiencing abuse or violence in an intimate relationship to reach out for help. There are many agencies in Calgary that can be contacted 24 hours a day by victims of family violence. We can also be contacted anytime by calling our non-emergency number at 403-266-1234 or by calling 911 if you're in immediate danger. Thank you, and I'll take your questions now.
Can you talk a little bit about the fact paramedics were first called and kind of what happened there, I guess, with finding the bodies?
Well, paramedics were called. EMS attended, confirmed that there was an individual deceased in the residence, and as such, sudden deaths are the purview of the police service to investigate, and therefore they called us.
Okay, and her cause of death exactly?
Cause of death?
Yeah.
Cause of death won't be released at this time.
Okay.
But we can tell you it has been deemed a homicide by the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner.
Can you, obviously a domestic incident, was this the suspect, the relationship of boyfriend, fiance?
It was a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship.
Did Leo live in the home then? Was that Leo's house?
Yes, it was Leo's home.
Victim lived there as well?
Can't comment on that right now. They did not live together, so I've answered that question for you.
When did she die?
When did she die? Well, that's still specifically a time frame. We believe obviously sometime prior to yesterday afternoon when her body was discovered.
So she had been deceased for some time before she was discovered?
Well, I can't specifically comment on that. I don't have the timeline, and I don't.
I mean, was it hours? Was it days?
Well, I wouldn't say it was days. I would believe it would. I believe it was hours, but as I say, I'm not a medical examiner. I don't have those specific details for you.
Can you say who found her?
Who found her? Another individual there at the residence.
Have police been called to this residence in the past?
Yes, on unrelated matters.
Do you know how long ago that was? Because we spoke to a neighbor and they had said that things were pretty quiet up until about a month or two ago. I mean, can you speak a little bit to the timeline of once the calls started coming into?
I don't have those specific details for you. I'm sorry.
Have there been any previous calls between, relating to, any sort of domestic issues?
With this particular couple, no, there hadn't been. We have no reported history of domestic violence between this specific couple.
Was she concealed at all?
Pardon me?
Was her body concealed at all?
Concealed?
Like hidden? Or was it just totally plain view?
It was located within the residence. I wouldn't say it was concealed.
Is the house some type of transition house or halfway house or?
It's a rooming house, and due to the fact that that part of the setup at that home, at that residence, is not part of the investigation, we won't be commenting further on that.
Okay, so you say a rooming house, just a house where people rented rooms, or was it a specific house under a type of program where people being transitioned back into the community, maybe that have been?
It was a rooming house, and it was, yeah, I don't want to get into the details with respect to the type of home it was, but it was a rooming house.
Can you speak at all to why the charge of manslaughter as opposed to,
Anytime we investigate a homicide in the homicide unit, we have to consult with the Office of the Crown Prosecutor's Office, and it is a requirement for us to obtain charge approval. And anytime we lay a charge, we have to have approval from the Crown. So based on the evidence we have at this time, the Crown Prosecutor's Office has approved a charge of manslaughter.
Kind of a more general question. I know we've spoken about this before, but just, it's been quite a violent year, and now in the last, few weeks, last month, has been even more of a little bit of an uptick. Just if you could give your comments about, what we're seeing recently, especially with a number of victims, females.
Well, we're always concerned anytime there's a homicide. Yes, the numbers are up this year from previous years. What that's attributed to, we really can't say. We'd be speculating.